special edition of the JANHA Show.
Mr. Ousainou Mbenga, chairman of the Democratic Union of Gambian Activists, known as DUGA, based in the United States, has applauded Gambians for making history by voting out dictatorship in the last presidential election.
Mr. JANHA, Gambian people will never forgive you. There might be some of your rats running around there trying to think that they can destabilize that country, but that is not going to work. The people have tested freedom, and we are never going to go back to those days of horror and terror. I mean, you will never know peace in your life, because you denied us peace and harmony for 22 years. But
Mr. Mbenga was born and raised in the Republic of the Gambia, a country in West Africa that is entirely surrounded by Senegal except for its coastline on the Atlantic Ocean at its western end. It is the smallest country in mainland Africa, with a population of 2 million people. The Gambia shared historical roots with many other West African nations in the slave trade, which was the key factor in placing and keeping of a colony on the Gambia River. First by the Portuguese, during which era it was known as a Gambia. Later, on May 25, 1765, the Gambia was made part of the British Empire when the government formally assumed control, establishing the province of Senegambia. In 1965, the Gambia gained independence under the leadership of Sir Dawda Jawara, who ruled until Yahya Jammeh seized power in a bloodless coup in 1994. Adama Barrow became the third president in January 2017 after defeating Jammeh in December 2016 election. Jammeh initially refused to accept the result, which triggered a constitutional crisis and military intervention by the economic community of West African states, resulting in his exile.
We are not going back to the PPP era, and we are not going back to the Jammeh era. And we are not going to settle for anything but Jammeh. We want the best sons and daughters of the Gambia to lead us out of this misery that we have been in for the last 52 years. And that's why I'm so appreciative of this, Mimi.
Mr. Mbenga was so kind enough and granted us the interview in his beautiful home in Hyattsville, Maryland. With that being said, welcome on the show, Mr. Ousainou Mbenga.
I am also honored. Thank you very much.
Let me tell you, it's such a big deal to have you on the show because I followed your work my whole entire life. Like, you like one of the people that I'm like, oh my God, what's going on in the Gambia? Let me go ahead and look at, go to your page and peep and see what's going on. The viewers that are watching the show that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, first I want to thank you, Mimi, and I am also honored equally.
Thank you, sir.
For this interview. And I had seen a couple of the shows, and so when you asked for it, there's no way I was going to refuse anyway.
Aww.
But anyway, my name is Ousainou Mbenga, and I was born in the Gambia, and I came to the U.S. years ago. I came here in 1974.
Wow.
But I've been going back and forth to the Gambia, and Gambia has always been in my heart, even after I left and came here. So I have 3 children, 2 girls and 1 boy, and my wife, you know her, unfortunately she's not here now. So, and then by training, I went to college and I was trained to be a clinical laboratory scientist, and the other thing is medical technology. And I've always been an activist because I believe in freedom for everybody, or freedom for nobody. I mean, like Malcolm would used to say. And I enjoy seeing, I mean, African people and generally just people living on a free and comfortable life, you know. And this is why I've always stood for justice in the Gambia, in Africa, and everywhere. So, in a nutshell, that's the person I am, you know. And I love Gambia so much. I love Africa, you know, so that's why I've been doing this all these years. And finally, we have created some breathing space in the country to allow our talents for generations to come, your generation, you know, and subsequent generations to really advance, you know, in every sphere of life, economically, socially, politically, culturally. And I'm very hopeful that your generation, you know, will, you know, soar as high as the skies they live in. So I'm really honored to for this interview.
Oh my God, you have no idea. You give me goosebumps by even saying all of that, because people like yourself are the reason why we're able to do what we do today. Because you know, if you came in the U.S. that early and you did everything wrong, people like myself won't be here. You know, you came here, you did the right thing, so that gave us opportunity to come here and try to do the right thing as well. Well, let's talk about
DUGA, the Democratic Union of Gambian Activists, came into existence in 2013.
Wow.
In August 2013, Mr. Jammeh used a speech to celebrate the Muslim festival of Eid to announce that all prisoners on death row would be executed immediately. There is no way my government would allow 99% of the population to be held to ransom by criminals, Jammeh said at the time. 9 people were executed, including Aliuba, a former lieutenant in the army, who was arrested and jailed in 1997 for plotting to ousting Jammeh.
If you recollect, that's when Jammeh gave the order or the sentence, death sentences for the death row prisoners, which was illegally carried out because when he came into power, the laws to execute people, you know, the death penalty was not enforced. So he came in there, and I think, you know, he just wanted to set examples, wrong examples, by terrifying people, and he implemented the death penalty again. And as you can, if you remember, you know, he swore by the Quran that if they end up carried out, he was going to drink pork and he was going to eat pork and drink alcohol. So after that savage execution, including a woman, I mean, that really outraged and horrified a lot of us. So we decided that something has to be done, because we've been dealing with these atrocities and criminal behavior of the Jammeh regime for so long. So we got together, myself, Basamba Jao, Sohna Sara, Hadi Yasofi Sise, and Sohna's brothers. And then we decided that we were going to form an organization that is going to be an activist organization to really deal with the social issues that affect us immediately in the U.S.A, and also try to see how we can remedy the problems, you know, like in the country. So that's how DUGA came into existence, and everything else, the rest is history.
You know, it's just so amazing because, you know, knowing that Jammeh was such a dictator in our country, you know, people were afraid of doing a lot of stuff or saying a lot of stuff. So when you guys started the DUGA Foundation, you know, what was going through your mind, you know, in particular, knowing that you are up for something very big? Because the man is a dictator. You can't really talk about him. You can't really say nothing about him without him coming after you or your loved ones.
Yes.
So how does that make you feel? And why would you sacrifice all of that, knowing that you might ruin your chance of getting to Gambia, you might ruin your chance of even having any more access in the Gambia, but you risk all of that?
Yes, all because of the love of country.
Wow.
And Gambia means so much to us. And these are the sentiments and the dedication that we want to pass on to subsequent generations. We knew it was going to be a challenge, and a lot of people were intimidated and terrified. But we just, I know, because everybody,
terror,
right, big time, terror and horror.
Yeah.
So, but then we said, look, this is why it is called a struggle. If it was going to be easy, it wouldn't have lasted this long.
That's true.
So we considered all those things we took into consideration, the fear factor, how people were intimidated, and some people wanted to go to Gambia, like you just said.
Yeah.
So, but if they know that you have any association with us, your chances of going could be detriment, could be jeopardized.
You get killed.
Yeah.
Oh, he kills people.
Yes. So, but all of those things, but we said that, I mean, in order for us to make these changes, we have to be courageous.
True.
And courage and love of country was the driving force behind us. So, and once we convinced a few people that we need courage, determination, and love of country, then we started attracting a lot of Gambians.
True.
And still people were intimidated. But then from 2013 until now, we had never relented in our fight for to uproot the Jammeh dictatorship. Finally, yielded dividends. And we want to make sure that that 22 years of battle will not just go to waste, and that what people expected of the changes after Jammeh would be realized, and that that we will never allow that that kind of government to raise its head, in our midst again. For that matter, sir, we're saying that this is not an insult to Jammeh's mother, but because of the horror and the terror that he had unleashed on our people, I am saying that we don't want another Jammeh to be born in the country, because it's going to be that memory and the history of those 22 years where the savagery, the barbarism that Jammeh had unleashed on our people is so disheartening.
Well, what is
Yahya Jammeh at glance. Born in May 1965, seized power in a coup in 1994. In 2013, he vowed to stay in power for 1 billion years if God wills. He also ordered the execution of criminals and politician opponents on death row. Claimed in 2007, he could cure AIDS and infertility with herbal concussion. Warned in 2008 that gay people will be beheaded. And he also denied that his security agent killed journalist Data Hydera in 2004.
What is one incident that you remember that really struck you with all the killing and all the horror that he did in the country? That, every time you think about that, you just want to get up and do something.
That's very interesting, Nini. Good question. But the one that really got me most about Jammeh is the tail end of his regime. After then I'll come and give examples of the previous one. For that matter, if there was a grain of forgiveness in my heart, those 60 days that Jammeh refused. First, he said he lost. He considered defeat. 5 days after he came in and said, he's questioning the validity of the votings, and then the state of emergency. Subsequent to that, the refugees, outflux of Gambians into Senegal and all, that thing got me so outraged and angry that, you know, I will never forgive Jammeh again. If there was any grain of forgiveness in it, you know, that he just crossed the line, and that fear of a bloodbath which he had wished upon the Gambian people, you know, those things kind of, that's the worst thing for me about Jammeh. But there are other things prior to his final demise, like the execution of the death row inmates, especially with including the woman, you know, in the whole world, everybody, the Pope, everybody went and begged, don't do this, and he went ahead and did it.
Oh my God.
And the disappearance of journalists, innocent people who had never done, they had never done anything wrong. All they did was just express their fundamental democratic rights by making criticism, and we don't know where they are until now.
Oh my
you know, so there are so many things that Jammeh has done to the Gambian people that I don't even, everything that Jammeh did, I cannot say that Jammeh had done anything good for the Gambia. You should go to Banjul now, Mimi. Banjul looks like it's the squalor, the filth, the dirtiness. He destroyed that place, he ran it to the ground. And if Banjul is like that, can you imagine how the rural area is?
It's very, very bad. It's like, I can only imagine. So on that note, you know, you mentioned something about courage. You know, I also know that you guys used to stand up for what's right, meaning you go to the house of whatever the lady used to leave, and then you guys will stand there all day, and you guys will disrupt the peace and pretty much demonstrate.
Yeah.
That's courage.
Yeah.
And that's a way of showing it. You know, when you, every time you guys decide to go to that place, what keeps you guys going? And when you get there, what is one thing that you always put in your mind that, you know what, I'm going to stand here, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. You know, what goes through your mind? Because it's very inspiring. You know what I mean? It's very courageous too.
Yes, a lot of things goes through my mind, and I'm pretty sure the mind of the other DUGA members, because we try to organize ourselves, because organization is the key. If you are not organized, you cannot accomplish anything, even at the personal level. Moreover, you know, like when we want to fight against that tyranny that was in the Gambia, and
what was that again?
The tyranny. To fight, when fighting against tyranny against the Gambia, you know? And then, you know, wanting to build a new society. So what used to go on in my mind in particular is that if Jammeh keeps our people in that horror, and he and his wife are relatively living peacefully. So
apparently she actually lived, the house is worth $1 million, right?
No, $3 million.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure he might have appreciated now, because the house was, but you know, almost about what, 4 or 5 years ago. So, and you should go there, Mimi. So we determined that if our people don't have peace in the Gambia, we are not going to give him peace, neither his wife, when they come here.
Oh, sure.
You know, so we made sure that wherever she is in this around this area, if we find out we were going to go there and just make it very unpeaceful for her or him. So, you know, those were the things that used to go on in our mind. That, you know, I mean, family members call us and tell us about how difficult life is. Food, clothing, and shelter has become the most problematic thing for our people. And this guy, as you know, when he came into power, Jammeh didn't have didn't have anything. And he was sickly, and within 6 months or so, all of that malnourishment disappeared. The cracks.
The cracks.
You know,
I wish y'all can see that picture.
And you would think that, you know, somebody like that, you know, will have
sympathy.
Will be
human.
Empathy. Empathize with people. But he came in and, you know, became the worst thing that ever happened, you know, in the political and in the history of the Gambia. So those were the things that really drove us that somebody once said that freedom is the recognition of necessity. You know, it's necessary for us to be free in order to live a productive life. Right. So that freedom is what we always put in front of us. So in our, we had an anthem that we call the DUGA anthem. This boy, I don't know if you...
His repulsive desire to accumulate his stolen wealth is as a result of outright gangsterism, while the rest of us wallow in abject misery and fear. He has claimed ownership of Kanilai and turned it into a killing field. He has equally claimed ownership of all the prime land in the Gambia without any challenge from the courts or any other institution. But we, the disobedient sons and daughters of Gambia, are determined to expose the criminal nature of APRC regime until its downfall. The JANHA regime has come to the end of its rope. Either it hangs itself or we will uproot it by any means necessary. Long live the democratic.
So maybe these are the things that really gave us the courage, you know, and the determination to make sure that however long it took, 22 years was too long, but we did it, and I am so proud of all my fellow DUGA members and our supporters. Some of them wanted to remain anonymous, you know, and then we respected that, you know, because for several reasons. Because in every battle, there are different components of it that come together, you know, to yield victory. So so that's what really motivated us and made us really determined, you know, to do this thing. I don't know if you have heard about the we went to the we took over the Gambian embassy one time. We went there and refused that, you know, we were not gonna. The police came, this Secret Service. Wow. And then.
So you guys used to form crowd of people, group of people, and then you go to the embassy and say, what do you normally tell everyone?
Well, you know, before we can.
Because it's very risky. First of all, you can get in trouble with the laws here. You know, you can go to jail because you're harassing a president, a sitting president, and you know, we all know how this country is. So putting everything on the line and going there. Like when you get there, what do you tell the group? What do you tell them for them to feel like it's really worth it?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's that courage too, and then because it's through practice that you develop this courage and the willingness to really fight back. You know, because that's what we have to do: fight back against JANHA. So when we have these demonstrations, you know, we will sit down and talk about it. But this one was a special one, and we called it Operation Bonbor.
Operation Bonbor.
Yeah. And
what does that mean? Bonbor?
Well, Bonbor, you know, like, you know Bonbor, this tea.
Yes.
Yeah, we just wanted
the tea?
Yeah, right.
So it's like a local Gambian tea.
Right,
Bonbor.
local Bonbor, yeah.
Got
so we, it took us about 6 months to plan it, because we wanted to make sure that, you know, that it would succeed. A lot of people had done it before us, taking over administrative buildings, you know, or embassies. So we, at the first attempt we tried, you know, we said, nah, you know, it's not, the conditions are not right yet. So we pushed it back.
No, like, you know, yeah, carry on.
So we pushed it back, you know, and then six months after, you know, we said, it's going to happen this day. I mean, the date, you know, like, escaped my mind. Anyway,
so, but you guys actually had a fixed date.
Yes.
And you know that day you can either go to jail
yes.
or get your messages across.
We were ready to go to jail, and we went to jail.
Mashallah.
Well, anyway, what happened was,
wow.
on that day, anyway, if I remember you know, maybe I remember the date, you know. On that day, we went to, we talked about it the night before, and close-knit, and all of the members knew exactly what they were supposed to do.
Like later I'm busting in tears. I'm sorry.
So 9 o'clock in the morning we went to the embassy, and we had in the prior to those things bought some chains, and we went ahead, you know, like, and then chained ourselves myself, Coach Pasambajao, and Sohna Sala.
Oh my God.
And then the Secret Service came in. We went live on the online.
So you changed yourself, meaning you put yourself in handcuffs.
Right.
And then you went there. Literally, you're telling the authorities, here I am, arrest me.
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
So when we went in, the ambassador came and we said we were not going anywhere. Somebody took the picture down from Jammeh's picture down from the wall, and we started reading our message on the online papers. And all of them were, we got them by surprise, you know, like Freedom, Gainako, what was the other one? Anyway, the Gambian online paper.
Yeah.
So we called them and told them that we are here in the embassy, and then we wanted to show our outrage and the ultimate civil disobedience. So they called the Secret Service. The Secret Service came and ordered us to leave. But prior to that, you know, we had told the rest of the members, when it comes to the point when they said leave, we want all of you to leave. And leave us here, the three of us. So they asked us, so they came in and they asked us to leave 5 times, you know, and then 5th time the guy said, well, you guys are under arrest, you know, hey, you know, we said, okay. So they took the chains that we had on ourselves and put their handcuffs on us, and read us our rights or all the stuff, emptied our pockets, you know.
God.
So everybody was downstairs waiting for us.
Oh,
so when we came in, you know, they put us in the van and took us away, and we spent the night in jail. So the following day we appeared in court, and it was very funny. By that time, you know, it has gone viral. You know, everybody in the world knew about the disobedience.
So the message was, you guys were succeeding getting your message out.
Yes, we wanted to make sure that we drive the message home and let the whole world know about what is happening in the Gambia, and that you know, it was worth that spending that night in jail
for the Gambian people,
for the Gambian people,
freedom.
Yes,
for people like myself, to the mashallah.
Yeah. And then we were saying that we also told people that you cannot equate overnight jail sentence with the people who had been rotten, you know, in the Mile 2 and Janjambure and Kanifing, Joshua prisons, you know, for years. But this was just our way of showing our disgust about the prison system in the country. Even though Mile 2 is the prison system, Georgetown and Kanifing, but generally Gambia was just a nation behind bars. Everybody was in jail, you know, even though they were outside of the regular prisons. But people had this fear of somebody kicking your door down at night, taking your husband away or your wife away or your son away. So Operation Bonbon, you know, we thought it was very successful. And a lot of people, you know, like dismissed it as adventurous, you know, so we said, okay.
So Operation Bonbon, tell us your experience, first time in the U.S. prison. And when you were there alone, what was going through your mind? Because that's a huge risk. And it's not for you, because you don't really need anything in Gambia. You don't need to live in Gambia. You've been here, you're well established, you're successful. But you had to go to jail for the freedom of the people that live in Gambia. Who was going through your mind?
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after this break. Keep it locked. Only on the JANHA show.
Freedom, like I said earlier, it's the recognition of necessity.
So, but when you were in prison, what were you thinking?
I was thinking that first of all, you know, we said we don't care, but whatever people say, it was worth it to expose the Jammeh regime. And being there, you know, I was in the same cell with Coach. So, and we chatted, you know, almost all night until almost done, and then
it was like an adventure.
Yeah, and then, you know, unfortunately, you know, he fell asleep before me, and he snored all the time. Hey, Coach. I'm talking about your snoring, man.
Coach, that is epic. Like, it's just a feeling knowing that I'm in jail, but hey, I'm a cigar all night. That is so epic.
So the
so
following
amazing.
morning, they came and ordered us to court. And when we got there, it was interesting to me. The judge has never seen a case like in front of her. And at one time, she had a smoke in her face. She said, and what are these gentlemen and this lady doing here? And then the court explained, that they were, of course, the prosecutor said that we illegally, refused to leave the embassy premises. And all this diplomatic nonsense, because it's like a foreign territory, or sovereign territory, even within the U.S. It was in the 7-10-story building. So, and we had a representative. Our lawyers they were so happy that we did something like that.
Wow.
Especially the one that represented me and JANHA. When anyway, they discontinued the case until further. Then we went back to court, and when we went, the other judge that presided over the case just dismissed it. And,
just like that.
So, but then under one condition, they call it the spread, agreement. The spread agreement was that we will not go anywhere close to the embassy. Like there was a perimeter that they said, so for 6 months.
Oh, wow.
So we went ahead and we held our we obeyed the spread laws, and right after it ended, we went back. And
you went back?
Yeah, we went back to the embassy, and
hold on.
They were
I'm sorry. So after you guys went to jail, you got out the next day. The judge was like, you know what? Let it go. You guys still went back.
After 6 months.
After 6 months, you went back.
Yeah, we went back.
So you guys stood there and waited the time, dot 6 months, and went back.
Right back.
Wow.
But it was just to show people that, listen, this is what freedom means to us.
But you don't really need to be free. You're free.
No, actually, I'm never free. When Gambians are not free, or Africans. That's new. So
the Gambia we're taking everything about Gambia and Gambian and put it in you.
Yes, that's what drives me.
So it's personal.
That is, it's very personal. Yes, it's very, very personal. That's what drives me.
There's no people like you out there, because it's incredible. Just knowing that there are a set of people like yourself out here that are willing to throw everything for the freedom of people that they don't even know, for the freedom of people that don't even deserve it. I'm just saying, quote unquote. But you stood there, and you're fighting for us. Yeah. MashaAllah.
There's a joy in it too. I mean, like personally, and I know people who came before us, like.
In Mr. Mbenga's voice, freedom for all or freedom for none. Those are the words that he lives by. That was the part 1 of our exclusive with Mr. Ousainou Mbenga, the chairman of Democratic Union of Gambian Activists, known as DUGA, based in the United States. Stay tuned and keep it locked for the part 2 exclusive coming up next week, only on the JANHA show. Thank you for watching. And stay tuned.
So these are the things that people are, the Gambian